today. Normally our Tuesday is hill day. We did the hill. So you had to run down to the hill, had to run this 1/4 mile hill up and down. But at the bottom of the hill, I put in some kettlebells, and then you had to do, every time you went to the bottom of the hill, you had to do like 2 or 3 different kettlebell events, like kettlebell squats, swings, RDLs, things like that. And then on the way up, you had to do 2 runs fast up the hill, which is a 1/4 mile up the hill, and you can walk, jog coming back down. But the other 2 or 3, depending on how you structured it, had to be some kind of carry. So you had to fireman carry, you had to chest carry, sandbag lunge up the hill, and you had to fire farmer walk 2 kettlebells up the hill. So it was an event of running up a hill with a bunch of carries. No crawls today. We didn't crawl up the hill, which is not that bad. It's actually easier than going flat. Downhill's really hard crawling. Um, so anyway, yesterday you remember me talking about the initial topic was, when to add workouts to your workout, right? And I finished that article. I put the link to it in the description. It's over on military.com. It actually came out pretty well. I was pretty happy with it. Because of course, the answer, it depends. If you're doing a hard workout program, like you're already doing calisthenics and weight training and cardio, what do you need to add to that? And the answer is, it really kind of depends on, one, your abilities. Two, is that activity potentially injurious? Usually impact activities are, contact sports are, even martial arts, right? If you're into that. Also, that kind of depends on, how far you're shipping, if you're still doing those contact sports or, potentially dangerous activities. So, um, anyway, adding something to your training needs to be something thought out well. Um, and in this article, I broke it down into a couple different things. So, adding running miles to your prep training, when to do that. And that's a tricky one, because a lot of people, when they're adding extra running or rucking miles to their training, they jack themselves up. And in fact, this story here that I kind of put into this little section was, somebody adding a marathon, right? Wanted to do a marathon in the middle of their training. I said, well, you probably don't need to be at, consider doing a marathon until you're up to like 25, 30 miles a week at least. Then you're allowed to go into a 40 or 50 mile a week training cycle for just a little while, but progress to that level. Maybe we get on a 10 or 12 or more week running program that gets you up to that level. And if you're still healthy after 45, 50 miles a week, then you can. Oh, okay. Then you can, do the marathon. If you're starting to fall apart at 40 miles a week, let that be kind of a lesson to, like, maybe you don't need to do that marathon, especially if you're months away from shipping out. But anyway, those are types of discussions I'm having in this article. And it kind of depends on, test it out. I'm not saying no, don't do it. Just be smart about it. Adding lifting to high rep calisthenics and running program cycles. This one's not that tough. I personally don't have a problem with it. In fact, let me see. In this program, even though it's PT cardio cycle, there are supplemental lifts at the end of 2 or 3 of the workouts every week, right? So supplemental leg days, supplemental upper body days. Now, this one's a different option. This one is a 3-to-1 block periodization model where you lift for 3 weeks, or I'm sorry, you do calisthenics and cardio for 3 weeks. That's not what this is. And then you lift for a week. So that's another way to do it. So you can. Now, here's the problem. Like, this is where a lot of people screw it up. If your goal is to improve your calisthenics and cardio, and you're starting to add heavy lifting into it, you could probably guarantee that you are not going to get better at either one of those. You're not going to get stronger because you're running and doing too much calisthenics. You're not going to get better at running and calisthenics because you're lifting too much weight. So that's where the split comes for me. And when I say you're not going to, yes, you can, but your improvements will be a lot less steep progression, right? If you're really focusing on calisthenics and cardio, you can improve on calisthenics and cardio really quickly. If you're trying to improve your strength, you can improve your strength really quickly if you give it some really good focus. And usually a 3 to 4 week cycle of purely focusing on some strength with a lot less back down calisthenics and cardio, you can definitely improve your strength quickly and see the results. So anyway, that's where we're talking about, and it's kind of like an optimal discussion as well. Yes, you can still see some results, but they're just slower if you're not really balancing it properly. Let me see. The third one I put in there was about a second workout that mimics the first workout. I personally don't have a problem with this one unless um, you're just doing too much. And then you have to really work on your recovery. One thing that this will teach you, let's say you have an hour workout in the morning and an hour workout in the evening, and they're very similar. This will teach you that you need to be eating well, you need to be hydrating, you need to add electrolytes, you need to, um, be sleeping well, you know, adding mobility and flexibility training into your program, um, because it can be pretty challenging. So, um, mastery of recovery is very important for your optimal performance. It's also important for your longevity, too. In fact, that's a great article. I did 2 articles there and a podcast with a really smart guy in Lieutenant Colonel Behringer when we talked about nutrition of that process as well. Adding swimming to your training day, I think this is one. If you need to swim, add as much swimming to your day as you possibly can. As much as you can stand being wet, get wet, because it's not tough on your body. Only place it is tough is when you put on a big pair of scuba fins, and then you can feel some strain in your ankles and hips and knees. That may have to be pull back a little bit and maybe just limit that on leg days. Um, a couple days a week, but anytime you're practicing treading or technique stuff with swimming, it's very important that you do that because one, it's going to build some water confidence for you, but it's also going to make you a better swimmer. So I have no problem with people adding swimming to their day unless you're a swimmer. There's no need, right? Just get out of the pool. You need to spend all your time in the weight room and not spend it in the pool trying to go from a 7-minute swim to a 6-minute swim because you know what? Nobody cares that you can swim a 6-minute 500 if you can't run a 12-minute mile and a half. So there you go. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. You don't ignore your weaknesses just to get better at your strengths. And then the final one is adding rucking to your training week. This one's a delicate one as well. It's just as delicate as the running one, with even more of a progression issue because you're adding weight weekly, you're adding distance weekly. What I typically do is, if I'm adding rucking, is will replace one of the longer runs with a ruck. That's one way to do it. That way your running mileage at the end of the week has not changed. And the only thing that's going to change each week is you get a little bit heavier. It's a great way to do it. Another way to do it is to just add a ruck and add some distance to your event. Probably a little riskier because it takes you off of your progression a little bit. But if you can handle it, give it a shot. But just make sure you're progressing. And then I give you a nice little, think of it this way. If you're going to start rucking, go 10% of your body weight and add 10 to 15% each month, right, as you go through, right? It's pretty good. You should be able to progress pretty logically with that. And that's pretty conservative. A lot of people just put on 50 pounds and just go. If you're a 200-pound dude that's pretty strong and, you put on 50 pounds, I mean, think about that. That's 25% of your body weight starting off. You may see some aches and pains with that because you didn't really progress logically. But a 20-pound ruck for someone who's pretty strong is not that tough. So I'm going to let you try to figure out exactly how you need to do that for your abilities. But anyway, check out that article. I put it in the description. I think I shared it in the comments. But it just gives you a good guideline to, how to make your workouts a little tougher if that's your goal. You want to make them a little tougher. All right, let's take a couple questions and then we'll do some CSS critiques. I got 3 lined up pretty well. Hope you guys are doing well here. There was a guy yesterday. Let me see. I got Nate's address because he won a book, but I didn't get Alex's. I think it was Alex, right? Yeah, Alex. So you need to send me your address, stu@stewsmith.com, email, and I'll get this book to you. I got it right here with your name on it. You won it. I'll do a couple of today as well. So when you guys see that I do this, boop, I'll flash it a couple times. When you guys see that, I want you to say, I'll take it, right? Just type it in. Just say, I'll take it. Don't do it now because I'll surprise you with it. I'll give away, what will I give away? I got some extra. I'll tell you what, I'll give you an option. I'll give you the spring training cycle. That's a 3-to-1 block periodization that I talked about earlier. It's 3 weeks of calisthenics and cardio, 1 week of strength training, spread throughout 16 weeks, I think. And then this one's the full 24-week, 12-week spring training, 12-week summer training with some supplemental options in there. So this isn't a block periodization model. It's pretty linear. And it progresses with running. It progresses with calisthenics and cardio. But there are some supplemental lifts in there if you so need them. So I'll give away 2 books today. Just stand by. All right. So we got trying to get my 500-yard down from 830 to sub 8. Why? 830 is good enough. How hard do you have your guys doing their 500s before going into the 50-50? That 500 starts off when you're just beginning that 50-50 workout. The 500 warm-up starts off as you just being able to finish 500, right, without stopping. So that's the first goal. Once you're able to do that, then it becomes, right, let's use it as a warm-up, nice and easy, no big deal. But then as you get in better shape, you'll find that warm up can be faster because you're getting better efficiency out of your kicks and pulls, getting in better shape. And so a lot of people will just use that first 100 to see how they feel and then just turn it on and make it um, make it a timed event. Like I had a guy the other day that I was filming, and he did like that first lap in 45 seconds, did the second lap in 45 seconds. And he said, and I didn't stop him because he was looking pretty good. And then he actually finished that 500 in 7:30. So he did every lap like clockwork, 45, 45, 45, 45. You put the math together, that's 450 seconds, right? And that's a 7:30. And really solid. And he wasn't even winded when he finished. I was like, damn, that's beautiful. I mean, you don't need to do it. In fact, you could even pull back a little bit if you wanted to and just get, 7:45, 8, and then save some energy for some other events that may be lacking and are not your best. Because you got to think strategically in this. If going from a 8:30 to 8 is going to really tire you out, I don't recommend it. I'd recommend, working on some other weaknesses. The fact that you're between 8 and 8:30 right now, that's really good. I would try to get your run, somewhere in that zone as well. Try to get your run down to sub 9, right? And be in that 8:30 to 9 range. Because if you can add those two together and you can be under 18 minutes, that's a really good It's a really good sign. If I can be closer to 17 minutes, that's really good. That's an 8:30, 8:30 on both, right? Or an 8-minute swim and a 9-minute run. That's a good combo time. So that's my recommendation. You can use it as a warm up or you can use it as a test. Which of your programs do you recommend to increase strength numbers, mainly squat? Does that program negate running? No. None of okay, so here's the deal. I grew up a power lifter, right? When I was doing powerlifting and I wanted to improve my squat, I did squats, right? I didn't add running and swimming and rucking and all that stuff. If I added running, it was like explosive 10-meter, 40-meter, maybe 100-meter runs. Anything longer than that was a waste of time, right? But that was a powerlifting football player life. It depends on what you are training for, right? If you're training to get better at squats, I would recommend get a powerlifting program and do squats, because even my best, and I would consider this my best weightlifting program right now. It is not a weightlifting program that really cares about how much you squat, right? It's going to get you up to 1.5, 2 times your body weight of squatting, but nothing more than that. So, and it's going to run, it's going to swim, it's going to ruck, it's going to be doing some calisthenics to warm up. So, I don't negate running, right? I'm not a powerlifting coach. I'm a tactical fitness coach. So, I am going to coach everything, getting good at everything versus just getting good at running or just getting good at weightlifting or just getting good at swimming. You have to mix it all together if you're going to make it through these type of training programs that I do. I unfortunately do not specifically address one over the other. There's some guys that do, and that's all they do, right? If that's what you want, that's what I would do. I would go talk to somebody who is a powerlifting world record breaking powerlifter and get on their programs if that's what you want to do. Okay, here comes another power lifter. Let's see. Took your final advice and got a paid swim instructor. Okay. I kick off the wall and get about half the pool. Nice. Should I add swimming as part of my weekly cardio? I think so. But once again, are you a power lifter only? Or are you trying to transition out of powerlifting to become a tactical athlete where you have to be good at everything? Not only swimming, but also running and rucking and high rep calisthenics. So the answer is it depends. All right, so you guys, I went on for a little bit, so let's show a quick. Let's show a real quick. This question here is real quick, easy. When should I start swimming with fins? Yesterday. How often? We swim with fins on leg day. So today was a leg day. After this event that I am doing, I'm about to go at 10:30, going to go swim with fins. So yes, swim with fins on leg days and start it whenever you want. All my guys swim with fins on leg days, and we swim with fins 2 to 3 times a week. Mostly 2 times a week, sometimes 3 times a week. Okay, let's see. Let me share my screen here. And we will show a swim. And I can't remember if this is a good one or a bad one. Let's see. We got to kick off the wall. Great streamline. That's awesome. All right. So anytime you got a good streamline, it's just going to set you up with so much speed off the wall that you'll never be faster than those 10 yards off the wall. So take advantage of that. And that requires you to be in that type of streamline, body position, get a good arm pull right there. I mean, that was a really good arm pull. Notice he's pulling and pushing. He's not doing like a jumping jack with just his shoulders. And he's getting a lot out of that one. Good streamline recovery. And boom, he is about to get a good freestyle catch and come up there and boom. Yeah, this is really good. The only thing I'm seeing here, and he would get called for this, is notice how even though it's not popping up, his arm is out of the water on this recovery. It has to be an underwater recovery. This looks good too. Oh, he's going to come back. Oh yeah, still same side. Oh, look at that. It looks that even higher for some reason from the back. Yeah, he'd get flagged for that recovery right there as not passing. So he would fail that swim because of that arm recovery that's too high. But I will say this, that's an easy fix. And that was pretty much perfect minus the high arm pull or high arm recovery. And that was 45 seconds. So if he can get in shape and do that 9 more times, he's got himself a 7:30 swim. So very good. So as I mentioned before, all you have to do is say, I will take it. I will take it. And the first person that posts, I will take it, gets that book of their choice. So we look like Zach Zeech. Oh, no, Alex. Alex gets it. Looks like it. So don't worry, I'm going to do 2 of these. So Alex Zelch gets it. Wow, that's the second Alex. So which one do you want, Alex? You can get the block periodization model or the, I'm sorry, spring training, not the winter lift cycle. Block periodization or regular one? You let me know. We'll do that again in a minute. So Let's see. Questions. Yeah, Alex, you just let me know. Send me an email, stu@stewsmith.com with your address, and I will put one of those spring summer PT workout or the spring training block periodization in there for you. Winter lift. Oh yeah, I'll put the winter lift in there. Not a problem. I'll do that. I would mention that I would only do the spring ones, but I have an extra winter lift cycle in here too. Not a problem. So here's the deal. Since Alex wanted the winter lift cycle, I actually have 2 more books to give away. So we'll do it 2 more times today. It'll be fun. All right, so let me see where I left off here with questions. Looks like it was right here. I passed the CFA. If you're not sure what the CFA is, it's the Candidate Fitness Assessment for the Service Academy. It's a unique test. Pretty regular, except for the basketball throw. Hey, it measures athletic potential. The man told me himself who created it. But my push-ups and pull-ups were not strong. Got to work on those. Should I focus on the weight room or should I do more calisthenics as to get ready as possible? I personally would focus more on calisthenics. If you want to crush a 2-minute push-up test and a max rep pull-up test, you could add some weights to it, but you're probably going to see faster results by just crushing pull-ups and push-ups. In fact, I'm going to put in a link. It's a 2-week protocol, and it's in the program. I don't know if you bought the CFA training guide, but this is an option in that, and it's a free option that I made an article out of, and it's basically a 2-week 10 days in a row of doing pull-ups and push-ups, and then 3 days off, and then you take the test on day 14. And a lot of people see a very big option, or a very big improvement in that time. But read the article, it will explain it fully. I just put it in the comment section. So Alex says, I've sent the email, sir. I can't have the book. I don't live in the US, but I will be happy if someone gets it. I can mail it overseas. I mean, that's what mail can get to you. Unless you live in a country that's, war torn and has no mail system. I mail stuff overseas all the time. Just costs a little more, but I don't care. It's a free gift. All right. So what is the 50% Murph Plus workout that you have in the Cows and Cardio book? Well, it's everything that's under that. That's just the title. And everything under that column is the 50% Murph. So think about what a Murph is: 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats. Well, 50% of that is 50 pull-ups, 100 push-ups, 150 squats. Plus means there's probably some extra exercises in there as well to just, add to it. It's probably a push press in there, or maybe a bear crawl, or, something else. So that's just the title in that column. Just do the column, as it says, from top to bottom. No, haven't seen you in a while. Would you add wrestling training to your different programs? Would you replace the cardio or the calisthenics portion of the day? Good question. Yes. In fact, I mentioned that in that article about grappling or martial arts type stuff, and it's a great addition for sure. My advice would be to, use your calisthenics maybe as a warm up to your wrestling and as a cool down to your wrestling, so you don't have to really give up your calisthenics that day. I would personally try this. I would try to do your normal workout with the wrestling and then see how you feel. If you feel like you're just completely wiped out and you can't handle adding that extra event, then replace one or the other. I personally would probably replace, I put it this way, I would replace what you need, what you can afford to replace. So if you're really good at weights or calisthenics, replace the weights or calisthenics. If you're really good at cardio, replace the cardio with that event. But whatever you suck at doing, don't skip it just to go wrestle. Or I should say, not what you suck at doing. Whatever you're trying to improve at doing, don't skip it. Hey, Stu, if swimming is your weakness, is it better to do it before your workout to get better at it? Good question. I'm going to say, once again, and I'm sorry to give you this answer, it depends. And this time, it mainly depends on your structure of your fitness test. So if you notice, the Navy Special Warfare fitness test has swimming first. So if that's something you are considering, I would do swimming first, just because you're going to have to get used to swimming and then doing everything else. If your training program is like the Air Force Special Warfare test, where you have swimming last, I would get used to swimming last, because you are going to have to get used to pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, mile-and-a-half run, and swimming. So let that be the determining factor of which one you do first or not. Eventually, you're going to get better at swimming, and your technique's going to probably drive your effort level. So as you get better at your technique, it's not going to be as hard as it is now. Then it's a conditioning issue, and you need to get in the shape to be able to handle it regardless of which way your test is. Specifically, you want to try to be a little more geared towards the way your test is. Like, a lot of people will do my workouts, and because of that situation, like, you can see most of my workouts will have swimming at the bottom, right? So, you know, also, if the pool isn't open after you've done everything, you might have to swim first. So it depends on a couple different issues, but pool availability is one of them, but also the structure of your test. You may want to move your swimming to the top of the workout if you need to train that way. Eventually, it won't matter once you're good at swimming. You can do it at the beginning or the end. I personally like it at the end because it's a great cool down. It's a great way to loosen up, especially after leg days. It's just good. It's a good way to recover. Asked this question earlier. I'm trying to transform out of powerlifting and become a tactical athlete. Okay. Also need to drop weight. Okay. Sorry. I did not know that was you. Because you asked this, I'm a powerlifter, finally took your advice, got a swimming instructor. Good. So your question was, should I add swimming as part of my weekly cardio? Absolutely. If you're going into a program that has swimming, you better be adding swimming to your weekly cardio. All right, so these are all the I take it's. Let me see. All right, one more question. We'll do another video. Is strictly following the 26-week training program provided on the Navy SEAL SWIC a good idea to train for buds? I think it is a good place to start. I personally, and I'm not knocking it, I just don't think it's hard enough. I don't think it takes you to a level that is really preparing you for the challenges mentally and physically. That's just my opinion, though. They will obviously have a different opinion, but you know, it's okay to have different opinions. And I could be wrong. I don't know. It may be sufficient for someone. I don't know. But I have typically have sent people there who need a place to start, and it's a good place to start. There you go. All right. Let's see. Let me get a good one again. That was a good video. I think this is a good one. One of these is not, and I don't know if it has any training value at all. To be honest with you, it's that bad. It's not that bad, but he's actually done quite well with his. This is not it. This is not the one I was thinking. All right, so we kick off the wall. Okay, so right off the bat, he's losing a little bit of his streamline just for these. Like you want to keep your feet and ankles together, and the streamline's a little awkward there, not quite straight. Those little flutter kicks can go top arm, bottom arm, kick. Ooh, okay. Didn't see a glide. Top arm, bottom arm, kick, hold the glide. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. His head's popping up. You should be holding that glide. Like the glide position, like this is his this is his recovery, which is, kind of not near his body. So when you recover like this, you're just like putting on the brakes when you swim. And then when you get into the glide position, his head is up and his arms are like this, right? So this is his glide position. Tell me what's different. Is this a good glide position or is this a good glide position? Right? Makes a big difference. If you're not looking like a torpedo, you're not gliding efficiently. And that's probably why he's not going anywhere on his glide and feels like he needs to kick earlier. Because, like, if I were to count Mississippi's, one Mississippi, that's it. So one Mississippi, two Mississippi, pull. He should be pulling on that third Mississippi. Those little flutter kicks there, not really helping. The glide's not really helping. So I'd say this one is more of a streamline problem. And if you get a better streamline and recovery, you're going to be able to get a better glide out of that. And that's going to require some shoulder mobility, being able to do this. It's going to require, some conditioning as well. So practice getting in a better streamlined body position. In fact, there's an article that I wrote. Streamline body position. So this one is number one. In fact, I think this one is in the description of this video. But check out this article, number one. And then I think I put in two most important articles for CSS. Put it in a single article. In fact, it is called "This Will Fix That Last Guy's Problem," and it's called "Two Most Important Article Videos to Watch to Learn the CSS." Check that out. It'd be very helpful to you. All right, so let's do this. Stand by, because it is another book giveaway. You have to type in "I will take it," and I will send you a spring training program of your choice. Book giveaway. Let's see. First comment wins. First comment wins. Looks like, I can't tell who this is. JHP. You guys can quit typing "I will take it," because JHP won one of these. Which one do you want, JHP? And then you need to send me an email address. I'm going to just type my email address in here, stu@stewsmith.com, and you guys can email me um, your address, and I will put it in the mail. So JHP, you tell me which one you want. You can tell me in the email. You don't have to tell me now. Tell me which one you want in the email. You want the spring training or the spring summer PT cardio cycle? That is fun, isn't it? All right, so JHP. There you go. So I'll be looking for that email. All right, so let's see what we got here. Passed the PST unofficially for a couple of months. Thinking about going to the recruiter soon. Should I go before the end of the year, or are more contracts available at the beginning of next? No, the fiscal year starts in October. So there's actually more contracts available October 1st of every year. That is the fiscal year of the government. So it doesn't really matter. I will tell you this. If you start the process before Christmas, there's a very good chance that somebody in the uh, process of getting your paperwork sent to MEPS and MEPS having your paperwork and all of that, somebody's going to lose it over Christmas. Happens every year. So whatever you do, if you decide to do this, make sure you have copies of everything. Um, every medical record that you have copies, and you give them a copy of that, because chances are somebody's going to lose it, especially over the holidays. It's a mess. My suggestion would just be start the process in January, because everybody's kind of checked out between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then people take leave and then they come back and it's like, where was I? So there you go. That's what I would do. Just seen it happen way too many times to it to be a fluke. Let's see, Alex, could you give us some thoughts on supplements while training for buds? Well, I think those are fine. Vitamin C, vitamin D is fine. I personally, I don't do a whole lot. I mean, I take some protein, like whey protein, with super foods, which are basically just powdered fruits and vegetables. So I get like 10 servings of fruits and vegetables, and I take that as a shake in the morning. And then I'm old, so I take one a day, 50 plus. Is this any good? I don't know, but I take it just in case there's something I'm missing. Um, and I do take vitamin D, especially in the winter. I don't do a lot in the summer, but I take vitamin D in the winter. That's all I do. And I have vitamin C as well, because some of the collagen protein and vitamin C combo together works really well together. So there you go. Personally, I would do this though. If I was a young guy, I would really learn how to eat well without um, without adding supplements, because once you get to buds, you can't have supplements. Now, something completely different is if you buy a whey protein, like Ascent protein. I'll put the name of it right here. In fact, I wrote an article on it. Let me see if I can find that article, because there's a difference between supplements and nutrition. If it says nutrition on the back, it's not a supplement, it's a food. So check this out. I would go with this if you need the extra calories. Scent protein. See if I can find this. I think it's on military.com. There you go. Oh, look at this. Great article called Ask Stu. navigating performance nutrition supplements, yes or no? And I go through this whole thing about what I just said. Yes, there you go. I talk about Thorn. I talk about even Shackley products, that are like NASA uses them. It's kind of interesting. I talk a lot of different options here, but check out this one because I also talk about Ascent protein. And the thing you're looking for is on the back of that thing, it's got to say nutrition facts. Like if you see this, that is a supplement. And you can't have supplements when you're going through buds. You can have nutrition, you can have food, but you can't have supplements. Good question. And that article should help you tremendously with some of the hurdles that tend to occur when people are trying to figure out what they should take or not take. Good question. All right, so let's do this. All right, not a book thing. I'm going to share another swim video here. Let me see. And I'm afraid this one may not be of much use because it sucks. But I will tell you this: as bad as this one is, he has figured it out and gotten it. I need to get a new video of him swimming, but it can start off really ugly, and you can see that this one does that. In fact, it may even take 30, 40 seconds just to get across a pool. All right, so top arm, bottom arm, kick. Yeah, so a lot of times people got a really bad kick, right? And he's got one. I mean, this is pretty bad. He wasn't quite sure how to do it, and then he mixes in some freestyle. I mean, it's all over the place. He's brand new to the stroke, and I guess he's never seen any combat swimmer stroke videos online and practiced it on his own. But he came into our workouts and he said, "Hey, can you look at my CSS?" And I'm like, "Sorry, but that's not a CSS." Yeah, that took 40 seconds just to get 25 yards. So there's not much training value in this, other than I'm just going to tell you what you should not do real quickly. You should not kick off the wall, and you see that right there. I mean, one, he's not very streamlined. It's not horrible, but he's not very streamlined, and he's plowing the surface with the top of his head. I mean, that right there is like just swimming with the brakes on, right? I will say this though, he's got a good top arm. Well, not a great top arm, but his timing of the top arm and turning of the head is really good. Um, the kicks are just what's really screwing him up. As you can see, he's really struggling with how to do the kick. So we got him on a kickboard drill, and he fixed his kicks because he was trying to do a breaststroke kick, trying to do a scissor kick, trying to do both of them mixed together. It was just pretty bad. So overall, if you look at it, I mean, he's got the timing down: top arm, bottom arm, kick, hold the glide. It's just the kick is just really bad. So there's an article I also wrote called "Fix Your Kick." It's called CSS Help Fix Your Kick. Check out this one. It's a really good one. If you're having problems with your kick like that guy is, it's um, definitely an issue for fixing, and that article's pretty helpful. So I got one more book to give away. If you type in "I will take it," you're the first one to type it in the comment section. I will send it. So let's see who gets the last book. It is a spring book. Let's see. Let me see. So I asked that. Okay. So yeah. Okay. All right. So I'll give you this: Ectorus Moriatis. Is that right? Ectorus Moriatis. Is that Greek? Um, so yes, you got it. Let me know. Let me know which one you want. I have multiple of these, so if both of you guys want the block periodization model, that's fine, but your choice. So email me, stu@stewsmith.com. Give me your address for shipping, and I will send this to you. And tell me which one you want. Do you want the spring training or the spring summer program? Both, by the way, both books are what we actually did that season. And I just created books out of them because I make changes every year to the training program. I mean, most of the exercises are all the same. It's just a different choreography of the exercises. Um, and they both work excellent. They're just a little bit different in how the workouts are structured. So you can definitely do both. You can do one or the other. It's up to you. Let's see here. So that was fun, huh? Everybody got books. Gave 3 books away today. Here's another question I missed from Matt Zilla. Any updates or thoughts on getting an age waiver for 29 going on 30 for color deficiency? I will tell you this, as hard as age waivers are to get, color deficiency is even harder for Spec War, Navy Spec War. I have had folks get age waivers as long as they didn't have other deficiencies and go to buds, no problem. However, I have never seen someone who is colorblind or fails a colorblind test. Doesn't mean you're colorblind. You just fail the red green colorblind test. If you have that deficiency, I have never seen a waiver for that. They were talking about it at one point a few years ago, but they said no. Big Navy said no, we're not doing it. So color deficiency is one of those things that will make you, if you still want to serve, it's going to make you want to serve somewhere else. Like I had three guys last year pass it the first time at MEPS, and then they failed it at boot camp, which really sucks because then they say, well, you're here, you might as well just go through and then try to go do something else later. But you don't go to buds afterwards. And they say, nope, I'm getting out of the Navy and I'm going into the Army. And they are now in the Army Special Forces pipeline as of right now. And they failed the color deficiency in the Navy. So that may have to be an option for you. Let's see. I'm actually training for the Air Force CCT. So if there's a new IFT or old past Air Force, I'd appreciate it. I don't have that one available as a freebie. I'm just giving away extras, you know. They're not dissimilar. It's just not specifically addressing it. You put it this way. The workouts I'm sending you will cover you for the IFT. I promise. As well as the OFT in the supplemental lifts, but it's not specifically addressed to that. It's going to cover more. It's going to add. Well, there's rucking in the OFT now, so it's going to add pretty much everything from running, rucking, swimming with fins, which are not covered in the IFT. Or it's not part of the IFT, but it is part of the selection. So it's going to cover mostly everything in the IFT, the PST, the OFT, It's just there's just no day in there where you're going to take the IFT or take the OFT. You may just have to add that in there. Whereas the one that that Air Force one I was giving away yesterday, that one actually has. In fact, I'll share a picture of it. That one actually has. Um, that one actually has the full IFT OFT workouts in it. Oh, this is my cover I send to the printer, so disregard the back half of that. But anyway, this is Air Force Special Warfare. That book, yes, absolutely has um, the IFT OFT specifically in there, and there will be a day where you take the IFT OFT multiple times in that program, whereas there is not an IFT OFT day in these programs. So that's about the only difference. It'll still work for you. Because, I mean, put it this way, all my guys that were here that went to Buds or Air Force or Marine Corps, we were doing this that year. And they all went and were fine. So you just might have to specifically address your OFT and IFT some days. Let's see. When training for and going through Buds, what cheat meal did you find help perform the best? So I did a couple things. One, I carried around honey packets and baby carrots and apples. I personally like that. I just thought it was a good source of carbs for me. It had some fiber in there, so it wasn't like super fast. It kind of lasted a while for me. Um, yeah, baby carrots, apple slices, honey. That was kind of like my go-to in between events meals, throughout the day. Kind of a snack. But after the day was done, I would always either go get a burrito out in town when you could leave, or you can call it in; they'll deliver it. Get a burrito, um, or if I didn't go get a burrito, but just want to save some money, I made beans and rice and had some form of meat, in my room. Usually it was tuna fish. Wasn't that tasty, but it did the thing. Can of tuna fish, some beans and rice and fish, or if I had chicken, some days I had chicken. What was my other one? And then on the weekends, you definitely want to go get one of those brunches. We used to go over somewhere on base, had a really good uh, brunch on Sunday. And out in town, you can find some brunches, but sometimes they get a little pricey. Um, but yeah, the brunches, all you can eat brunch on Sunday morning, the best. So that's what I would recommend. You're in Southern California, take advantage of the burritos that are inexpensive and very filling and ton of calories for you. So, good question. And we're moving right along. Been an hour, and I think I'm almost done. We'll make this the last question. I think Army SF may have to be the option for me, just because they're not as strict on color deficiency or age. I agree. In fact, I went to a Army SF graduation because one of my Navy guys was trying to get to Buds. He was an active duty guy stationed near here, so he was training with us. Got in really good shape, was crushing everything, and he could not get to Buds. So he actually finished his Navy enlistment and one day, and the next day he had already done all the paperwork and he was officially in the Army. The next day he went to a special boot camp where they just taught him how to wear the uniform. He was an E5, and he went to Army. I went to see his Green Beret graduation after he finished the Q course, and I probably met at least 20 people who were somewhere in the Navy pipeline that failed color vision or depth perception and were there, or they were like 35 years old. And in fact, I think the oldest guy was 42 to make it through Green Beret Q course and get his Green Beret. So you don't have a tight window to join. You don't have to be 18 years old and join these jobs. I mean, that is a barn door opening. So if you're a little bit older, that's good. You know, Army especially, they like more mature people who can go to another country and, you know, help persuade other people to and teach other people to, you know how to fight. And then they join in those fights. So it's a great mission. You know, they're going to do a lot of things in peacetime that, you know, regular, you know, special ops guys will not be doing, you know, in the direct action type profile missions. Yeah, I would agree. You should be tempted to be told no by the Navy before assuming anything. You know, people ask me this all the time. Hey, I have this medical ailment. Should I go join the Navy? I'm like, well, I think it's personally disqualifying. However, you should let a military doctor tell you that, because it could be um it could be waiverable, right? I don't know, right? I don't know all the ins and outs of the long laundry list of things that can get you disqualified, you know, and what's waiverable, what's not. You know, you should let somebody in the pipeline of getting accepted into the military tell you, sorry, it's not waiverable, not me. So, yes, absolutely. All right, folks, I am going to call it quits. If I missed your question, just send it to me in an email. I don't think I did, but if I did, regardless, if you want a book today, send me an email, Stu at Stu Smith. I will send you one of these books that I have extra copies of. Um, let's see. And I will be back next week to discuss some stuff. I'm trying to get a couple of guys for the tactical fitness report. Jeff should be available this week, and then trying to do another 2 through and after with a couple of buddies of mine that I'd like to showcase their story. So stand by. I'll probably have some other videos that I post up here on YouTube, as well as the podcast place where you get all the podcasts, Apple Podcasts or whatever, Spotify. You can find all my tactical fitness reports over there. So check out StuSmithFitness.com if you're looking for programming. Happy to help you out. Until then, we'll see you later.